pour that up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're cooking.
Now we're cooking. Haven't had coffee all day.
Same. No, I'm just kidding. It's like my third cup.
Okay. But I've had energy drink.
But one cannot hurt, right?
No, one can never hurt.
No. So, what are we talking about today?
Well, I mean, did you catch the race last weekend?
Yeah, I got the race. I actually saw you send me a snap on the morning, but me and my girlfriend decided to not open any social media before we watched the whole race because we didn't like wake up to watch it because it was really early.
Yep.
So I could suspect it was like a spoiler of some kind when you sent me that snap. But then we saw like the first lap. This must be it.
Yeah.
This must be it. He must be thrilled with happiness because Max Verstappen is out.
I was.
Yes, I could tell. Who isn't? Nah, I wasn't. But yeah, it was interesting actually. Actually getting to see a race without the same leader and winner.
Yep.
Even though I'm both Max and Red Bull fan, it was nice to see someone else thrive. And it was pretty funny and ironic actually. When we woke up that day before we put on the race, I actually said without even knowing, it's like would be pretty funny if like we talked about if Max were to go out of the race, and I with like sarcasm just said, yeah, like it would be funny, or imagine if his car just breaks down or something like that. But fuck, I jinxed it.
It's your fault.
Or is it? So yeah, but interesting race.
I put the wake up alarm for 5:55.
Oh shit, you actually...
I got up, and I mean, I gotta tell you, the day becomes really long when you wake up at 5:55.
Yep, I could imagine that.
You have a lot of day in that day.
A lot of day in that day. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
Did you see the post-race penalty that Alonso got?
Yeah, I didn't like see because we had other plans after the race, but I saw on social media that he got a 20-second.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That is crazy.
And like I didn't like see it in detail in the race, or didn't think about it at least, but I could see why it's a penalty. On the other hand, I wouldn't give it 20. I would not give it over 5 seconds.
I wouldn't even give a penalty.
No, it's not like that. It's barely a penalty. I could accept a penalty, but if it were one like 5 seconds max, because
they have to give him like 20 seconds to push him down.
Yeah, it's like then you would have to give penalties for every race just because every driver like takes the corners differently. It's like, it's a very fast corner, and like if you have bad tires you will have to like brake or like take it with more cautious like maneuvers. So I think it's crazy that it's a penalty in that sense. And of course it's dangerous, but also as a driver behind you will have to like adjust and be aware. And we're talking about cars that's like going over 300 kilometers per hour. It's really, really fast speed. So of course it's dangerous. It's a dangerous sport. So I don't think it was right at all, the decision.
Yeah, I don't like the decision.
Hey, it is what it is. It's too bad for Alonso. I really like him, so...
Yeah, I guess.
And I don't like Russell, so...
I don't either. He's just not very likable, you know?
I gave him a chance back in the day, like earlier seasons I watched, but it was last year I turned the tables for him. I think it was after the post-conference in Baku last year.
Oh,
with Verstappen. I mean that interview was like
nice.
it was rubbish if you ask me. I didn't agree at all. But he's been like that for a very long time. I remember Imola, I think it was Imola with the incident with Bottas as well.
Yeah, completely his fault too.
Yeah, so but that was like that settles it. I actually like have turned the table, so I actually quite a big fan of Hamilton instead.
Yeah,
because
same.
he's been so like always been humble and such like calm, nice guy in that sense.
See,
well, I'm a get to it. I think it was the first years when I started watching. I think 2019 or 20. Then I didn't like him, but that was some part was of Hamilton, but a lot of the hate for Hamilton was actually hate for the media because I didn't like how they painted up the picture of Hamilton. They always had Hamilton as the golden child, the angel that couldn't do anything wrong. They always blamed it on Verstappen and so on. So in that sense I didn't like, but that was more how they painted him up as a media athlete in that sense.
Yeah.
But over the last year and this year I really grown to like him both as a driver and a personality.
I think he definitely got some insane talent.
Yeah.
I don't think he nourishes his talent in the same way that Max Verstappen does.
No, I don't think so.
I think Lewis probably has potential to be even better than he has been and is.
Yeah, but it's quite a different driving styles as well. Max is so brutally aggressive when it comes to driving. Lewis can be too, but I feel like Lewis is more like broadly well developed as a driver. I don't know yet. Maybe too soon to say, but
if you look back at when he started, when he came in, you had these killers in the sport. You had the top dogs.
Yeah.
You know, you had the Alonso, you had the Räikkönen, you had all the good guys driving back then, and he just came in and he duked it out with the best, and he was at the top right away.
Yeah, and the
first season in, he was finishing in the top 3 of the points.
Yeah, and I really do feel bad for him. The latest seasons he's had quite a rough patch, but that's just because the car hasn't been at all enough where it's supposed to be. But looking forward to see next year what he can do in Ferrari. And
that depends on the car.
Yeah, and
now I think Ferrari looks decent.
It looks really solid.
It's still miles off from Red Bull, but
but it's tightening the gap more and more. I can tell. I mean, if Sainz would have driven in Saudi, he would lead the championship, I think. For example, I think Sainz is a very, very good driver. Leclerc as well, of course. And I think he's stepping up now when he's leaving.
He stepped up already last season.
Yeah, he did.
Before that, he was a little bit, rough around the edges, and he just came into Ferrari as well.
Yeah,
becoming Leclerc's teammate.
Yeah, I think.
And that he takes some time to adjust, but we're starting to see a very polished version of Sainz.
Yeah, and with that being said, we could get into the next discussion in the formula. Well, who do you see in all the different teams next year? Because almost the whole grid has expired contracts next year. We're talking about, we already know Hamilton going to Ferrari, but we have there's rumors about even Max. I don't see that happening, but there's a lot of rumors. I don't see why he would leave, but hey, still rumors. We got Perez, that's still on the threshold of another team, but he's been really good right now. He was last year in the beginning really strong. So let's see if he can maintain and keep it up, because as you know, Perez is my favorite driver, so I really hope he will do the best he can.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't care if he's in Red Bull. I would just care as long as he drives. I don't care for whom.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we got Sainz. He has to go to another team. We got Alonso, could maybe switch. Then we have to like discuss, could it be talks about new drivers?
Yeah.
I think Antonelli was his name. Could be, I think he could be like a good option for teams like Williams, Haas or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
Even Alpine.
Yeah.
Then I think Behrman talks about Behrman replacing Hülkenberg and Hülkenberg going to Kick with Bottas for upcoming project with Audi.
Does Bottas have a contract for next year? I'm not sure. He does.
I don't think he does. I'm not sure. But there's already, like I said with Hülkenberg, that they're thinking about like pairing up Hülkenberg with Bottas, not just for Kick, but for the upcoming like Audi.
I mean, let's see about that.
Yeah.
I think he's Bottas. I like him. He's very humble. He has shown moments of brilliance, but he's not. He can't always battle with the top dogs.
No, but it's hard to say because you can't with.
And his luck is so bad.
Yeah, and this season it's just not about luck. I mean,
well, I mean,
the crew has to do something because you can't like do 20-40 second stop. I mean, what are they doing?
There have been 3 races.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 races has been completely fucked.
Yeah.
Because of the pit crew.
Oh yeah.
For Bottas.
Yeah, I mean
that's a little bit unfortunate.
It's a disgrace, really, but it was the same thing in Mercedes.
Yeah, and
it was always perfect pit stops for Lewis, but hey, here comes Bottas. We lose some bolt or something, or
slack off.
Yeah,
they're not as motivated. This guy is the 7-time world
Finnish
champion.
Guys.
It's not a 7-time world champion.
No. So. I don't know if it's just against Bottas or just pure unluck, but yeah,
I think it could be just that he's unlucky.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but it has that limit that you need to wonder: is it just unlucky? But hey, it was also for Joe.
Joe also. You know.
So it's just not Bottas.
Guan Yu Zhou.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's like difficult to say what will happen. Really looking forward to it though. To see.
Yeah, next season gonna be lit.
Yeah, I have no clue where everyone will go, but
it's gonna be a little shuffle.
Yeah,
and I'm all for it.
I'm quite. I don't know where like Red Bull will stand. But I really would like the idea of Sainz to replace Perez because Sainz has already been a teammate with Max back in the day. So the relationship between the drivers would be already quite wonderful there. Yeah. And I can really see a good combination of the drivers there.
But this is the thing, like, is Sainz willing to become like the clear second driver? Because anybody going into Max Verstappen's house is gonna be the second driver.
Yeah, but you can't work around that. So you just
and you have Sainz now in Ferrari looking like the first driver, but he's actually the second on paper.
Yeah.
And last season he definitely solidified like he's here to stay. He drives good. He has good race IQ. He can make his own decisions on track.
Yeah.
A lot of people they have to rely on their engineers to make decisions for them because it's hard when you're going 300 kilometers an hour to make, and you can't make mistakes. You can't lose concentration.
No.
To be able to do those tasks at the same time, that takes some serious
skill. And there's
skill.
I hate to say it because I'm such a big fan of Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
I had the vision of him going back to Red Bull, but
yeah, no, I don't see it anymore.
No, he just he could have the same pace, but Yuki outperforms as well, even if it hasn't just been like with the pace to do with that. But I don't think still it's enough to be Red Bull like material right now. But I don't know his drive.
It's early days in the season. We'll see.
Yeah, it's hard to like compare because we're talking about Alpha Tauri or a Racing Bull, which isn't even close to a Red Bull. So it's really hard to say. He could be a good match. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know. I think he's washed up.
I don't think he's washed up yet because I really don't want that either. But no, I don't think he's up for the Red Bull.
No.
I think he could be up for it, but I don't know.
And I've heard that the Red Bull is a hard car to drive.
Yeah.
It's so I don't know.
I think it's really a really sensitive car.
Yeah.
At least Max's car, because I heard a interview from Albon where he said that Max's car isn't like anyone else. It has really sensitive tweaks to it. He compared it to imagine when you're playing or using a computer and you up the sensitivity on the mouse, going everywhere already before you move it almost all over the place. And he described Max's car just like that. You up the sensitivity so bad, that's why it's so sharp and adjusted to Max's sharpness and aggressivity.
Yeah.
So, and as you can see, Checo doesn't have that same tweak, but he can't have either because Checo is a much more defensive driver. He could attack and be a offensive driver as well, but he, on the other hand, is so talented when it comes to defending and all that stuff, I think.
Yeah.
So I hope, of course, Checo will stay, but sadly, I think he will go.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to go this season, though, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right, maybe we should move on from the Formula 1.
Yeah.
There's more to come. There's a long season.
Oh, yeah.
But I think today we're going to delve into what is lifting.
Oh, yeah.
What is hoisting.
Hoisting.
Now, if we look at this as a really fundamental concept, it's like defying gravity.
Yeah.
You take an object and you defy gravity with it.
Hell yeah.
That's what lifting is.
Yeah.
But it's still so much more,
Yeah. So much more.
And I guess lifting has different meaning to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we have to look a little bit at lifting as thing. If we look at history of lifting, there wasn't bodybuilding, there wasn't any powerlifting, there wasn't any CrossFit.
They were cavemen.
There were just ooga boogas, and they were lifting I'm sure of it. They were lifting stones, logs, to see who could lift the biggest object. Because that's just the nature of man. Yeah,
and not only just to see that, but also way more focus and priority on the function of the lift.
Yeah.
Of lifting, not just the specific lift per se. But we talk about what is the aim for moving this object. What is the aim of lifting this or performing this movement pattern. I think it was way much pure in that sense. So I think that was a really interesting start of it.
Yeah. Well, let's think back.
Yeah.
Right, we're two
Let's go back in time.
We're two cave guys, right?
Ooga booga.
We got Ooga and we got Booga. And we out on a hunt, right?
Yeah.
To get maybe some berries, maybe a deer or a rabbit or something to make a stew.
Just one with cutting or what?
Yeah, it's cutting season. We're shredding for summer.
Oh, hell yeah.
So we see this rock that we call the ancestral rock.
Yeah.
Our forefathers could lift this rock. And once you can lift this rock, you become a man.
Yeah.
Right? So every time we pass this rock, we're going to lift it. I mean, it might not be pretty, but we're going to go over to the rock and somehow get it off the ground.
Yeah.
I think that's like the origin for lifting. It's like seeing that being this machine that can move objects against gravity, of course. You know?
Yeah.
What do you think? How do you think it was started? Do you think it was like that, like cave people, and they were like, rock, me, lift. You can't lift rock. You no man yet.
I mean, we could discuss what the dialogue was, but comically, I truly do. I don't know it in what particular sense they were like performing these rituals or activities when they would lift such things. But I do think it started out like that, really simplistic, because back then it was way more about the physical aspect of your performance as human beings.
Yep.
It wasn't as much about the psychological stuff, not as much like communication, because speech and communicative skills wasn't as developed.
No, I think they were getting developed.
Yeah, they were.
They were at the point where they could have like very like detailed communication. Yeah. Already like 7,000 years ago ish.
Yeah.
Or we don't really know.
No.
But
about I do believe they were on the like brink of that development.
Yeah.
But still not as close as we are today, obviously.
And that's why we destroyed all the other human races.
Hell yeah.
Because we could communicate. That's the reason why we are here.
Mm-hmm.
And the Neanderthals isn't. Homo sapiens on top.
Yeah. On top. Hell yeah. Elite tier.
Yeah. I mean, the results speak for themselves.
Hell yeah.
We got 8 billion Homo sapiens.
Hell yeah.
Ain't seen no Neanderthals.
Yeah, and I do think it was a really nice like point behind of it back then. It was very pure, and you lifted and did things what it was supposed to like do, like you did it for the true function and purpose of it. If you take nowadays, you do all of these activities, you could do that as well, but often you don't do it for the same reasons that you sometimes would need to do it for. And I talked about this in like early, I think it was one of the first episodes as well, when we talked about like the hypotheticals of like going back in generations, like how do we compare humanity and productivity and those kind of things that now we could have a 26-year-old living at home with her and or his parents still without like boundaries or like responsibilities, not doing anything, just being inactive like shell, not doing anything, and therefore developing more issues like especially like psychological demons like anxiety, depression and so on. But back in the day, it's a reason why like mental health issues was way lower back in the day, because we were practical. We did stuff physically.
Yeah.
We
didn't really have time to think about it that much.
No, exactly. We had more responsibilities, more responsibilities at younger age. So we had to like be independent. We had to do things by ourselves.
Or die.
But yeah, and it was like way less of emotional and psychological development, but also due to more physical and practical domains in our daily lives back then, it was way less time and like even situations when we could like reflect and worry about these things. That's way more common these days. So I mean, bad and good to everything, right?
Yeah.
But
like getting this back to like lifting.
yes.
So
go
like,
back. Sidetracked a little bit.
Yeah, but it's fine
Yeah.
because see, like obviously, lifting is not just lifting something. We're always lifting ourselves.
Yeah.
Moving through space against gravity is kind of lifting.
Yeah.
You know, just walking, I wouldn't really considering it lifting.
No.
But if you're, say, you had to crawl, you had to climb, you had to run, sprint to get that, you know,
Yeah.
food on the table,
Yeah.
then you're sort of lifting, maybe a little bit with your own. You're using your own body weight against gravity.
Yeah.
But obviously, the purpose of doing that wasn't just to lift.
No.
But if we go further in history to just maybe like actually even 1,000 years ago, we have the Vikings, right?
Yeah.
They did have lifting stones.
Yeah.
And there were a set of stones that, depending on how big the rock you could lift, you got a better seat in the longboat. And they found these stones in Norway, on Iceland, and I think they found stones in Scotland too, maybe in Ireland. And they found both female and male lifting stones. So stones for women too.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't think the ones in Scotland or Ireland were for like a placing on the boat or something like that. but the ones in Norway most certainly were like a sort of a ranking system. Like, hey, you can lift a big rock, you get to sit here and do this or do that, you know.
Yeah, and I do think like the Norsemen or like the Viking type of generation or culture was way more like active and disciplined in these kind of scenarios. Do you see any other like culture or time span, like if you go back in time, except the Vikings, that also were kind of big in this area?
Obviously, we have to look at like ancient Greece,
of
right?
course.
Because you know, our main man Plato himself, you know, he was a wrestler.
Yeah,
he Olympic wrestler, and it's known fact that during like conversations he could get like up and flex, you know, and show off that he was a muscle bound, hunky, engorged, voluminous, big man. Yeah. To win the argument with just the sheer amount of size that he carried around.
And with that being said, I also want to ask, because I know you are quite like well spoken upon the like topic of bodybuilding and posing and all that kind of stuff. How long back do you think like things like posing is originated? Like, do you feel like back in the day, in like these ancient times, they performed and practiced posing in the same sense?
No, not in the same sense. Obviously, there was posing because you needed a model to make a statue, right?
Yeah.
Someone, well, obviously you could make it from imagination, but maybe you needed some kind of foundation, groundwork, have a person stand in that way where you know you get some inspiration. I do think posing originated from like art and statues and forming stuff and shapes, maybe even paintings as well, but that's more of the Renaissance time.
But that's really interesting, and I do think we should go back a little bit to that time. I'm talking like right now, 2024. Like we have a lot of posing in our midst.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, instead of like posing for like looking big bro, looking jacked, or like filling the ego up after every session, like taking a post workout pic or anything like that. I think we need to consider like what the body really is like, forming, shaping our muscles, our body to look as aesthetically pleasing as possible, as we want it to be. Like we could literally shape it by ourselves. Like I do posing right now more for the sake of like tracking progress. Not only I'm tracking a lot of strength that I can't track visually, but if I pose like every time, I could really strongly see what changes in my body, like on my muscles, like that's like more striations in that area, or more developed like head on that tricep, or things like that. If you like pose regularly, you will get a like eye for that. That's why I do it today, and something I would like to get way better at as well is actually posing. Actually performing the pose, like the lat spread and the front.
I think posing has become very rigid. If we look at it from like a bodybuilding sense, if you look at like old school, like silver era, for example, you go back to like the 1920s, or even before that, if you look at Eugene Sandow, and they didn't have like this structured form, like, oh, this is how you hit the double biceps, and you do this, and you...
I'ma just hit pause. You want a refill on your coffee?
Oh, hell yeah,
man.
Oh,
hell yeah. Yeah, keep going.
Dap me up.
Yeah.
So, right now you have a very structured set of rules that you should follow if you want to like get your poses right, maximize the amount of muscle you show, and like give the illusion of size. And no, it's fine. And it's very like tight, knit, strict in terms of posing. But back in the day, I feel like it was more about art and beauty, and just showing how immaculate the human body is, you know. And you could see this in old statues and carvings and paintings. Obviously some of those are maybe realistic, but they're shaped in the image of a human being. What does this have to do with lifting? Obviously we build those bulbous nice physiques by lifting. And if we move on to where we can see the next traces of lifting in history, it's like circus lifting. Or the freak show was in town. Some big guys could bend some iron bars, or lift some hefty dumbbells or barbells, and they usually invited the crowd to come and lift too. To see, and usually no one could. If there was some freak farm boy who could do it, maybe they'd get to join the circus, you know. Become a circus act.
Getting some participation in there. Yeah, that's great.
And that was the first man to like really get the mainstream attention with lifting and showing his physical appearance was obviously Eugene Sandow. That's why they call him like the father of bodybuilding.
From what time span was he from?
It was during the 1800s.
Okay.
I don't know exactly the time span which he
but
lived.
Approximately,
And he became a trainer for like the royalties in Britain as well, and trained a lot of famous people. And he sold supplements. And no, actually this was also in the beginning of the 19th century. And he held like the first big bodybuilding show where like the attendance was like over 10,000 people. This was a big deal, and there wasn't such a bodybuilding show for like almost 100 years where the participation would be this big again. So it was a really big thing, and Eugene obviously had promoted these programs, lifting these like 2 kilo dumbbells like this as well, you know.
Yeah.
Like 100 reps and stuff like that. But he really built his own physical appearance with some heavy lifting as well.
Yeah.
With the bend and press, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
that's a classic.
He was a strong guy, really strong guy.
Oh, is he the one that came up with?
No, he's not the originator of like the bend and press. But he definitely participated in doing the lift.
Okay.
And many times when a strong man was in town, such as Eugene, he would like demonstrate the lift to show like what this physical prowess can do.
Okay.
And like people would be awestruck by the strength, the sheer strength and bulbousness of this man, you know. He wasn't like that big, but he was kind of diced.
Yeah, because if you think about it, it was like way more impressive back in the day, like what you actually could see as like feat of strength, like whether it was like a show like that or like general lifting, dumbbells, barbells or anything. Because in today's day of age we use way more like equipment and supportive like materials to lift, and I think deep down that is a reason why I stripped down and took away all of my like equipment as well, as I expressed before, that it was to work on my weaknesses and natural strength in the like as a whole, but deep down is what it also was to become like, or go back to this older age, just to be as natural and human as possible, because just lift with my body, nothing else, because as I were born with my muscles, my tendons and nothing to help me or anything. So I think that's one of the parts, like I want to go back and feel and lift as I were meant to lift from the start, as a human being. So.
And I think that has a lot to do with like what does it mean to lift, to like move your body, be able to have this authorization of over your own body, that you have this control to move, and it's one of the only things in life which is like real, right? We have we can taste this coffee, right? That it tastes like coffee. It tastes like, you know, we made it in the coffee pan, but something that's real about it is that this maybe weighs like 100 grams. The coffee I have in this cup is about 100 grams, and I can tell. That's one real measurement. Me looking at the coffee, it's brown. That might not be real. Me tasting the coffee, that might not be real. That's like a secondary class of knowing. But the weight I feel we can measure. It is real. Being able to move your body through space is like the most real thing you can do. And that's what lifting is.
And if we like split up the terms between lifting and like moving, we could also talk about other cultures and time periods, such as more like Asian type of cultures, like more where we perform martial arts, more like how would I describe, not kung fu, but more like those type of movements where we practice our body and our spirits and our minds like in a whole. Do you see that connected to it as well? Or?
Oh, they do, and they do have forms of like what we call lifting too, in
like
those
swordsmanship
and like they lift jars and stuff to train their grip strength, and I hold them out and lift them for a long period of time, and maybe stand in a squat, but that's just with your body weight, but that's still a lift.
And I do think like if we take the swordsmanship again as an example, that also could, you're not lifting anything, you're holding the sword, yes, but you're moving and you're coordinating within space, like through space, and like how you're moving your body in relation to the situation itself. It's really interesting, actually.
I think it goes a little bit deeper with the sword.
Yeah.
If you really look into like swordsmanship and like the sword being sort of an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little bit different with lifting, the way we perceive it today.
Yeah.
If we go to the modern day and age, we have these strict boundaries for lifting. Oh, if you deadlift, you gotta have your back straight like this. Retract the scapulars and do this and that.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's what you should do.
Yeah.
If you want to have a long and prosperous lifting career.
Yes.
But it all boils down to lifting. And we've discovered the whys. It's because it's real. It's a real thing. It's something we can measure. It's something we can do. We know that this like grounds us to reality.
Yeah.
Right? It makes us feel a part of the now. As we're moving constantly through space, we're just going to be a speck of sand in the time churning sand of the universe. We're nothing. But right now we can feel that we are moving this weight by lifting.
Yeah.
I think that's what it truly means to lift, to feel the now. You know?
Yeah, and I always consider lifting, of course, in a more modern sense now.
Yeah.
When we talk about gym and all that kind of stuff, but I've always seen it so much more than merely lifting. Just like, it's cool to squat 3-4 plates or bench 2 plates or anything like that. What I'm actually doing with my body, but like, how am I moving my like muscles, my joints in this specific moment in time? And for me, the gym and the lifting area is so much more because it's a very big part of my identity as my like role in this society and like my relationships and all that.
Yeah.
And very strongly packed with the psychological aspects as well. Like almost every lesson I've learned in life has been through the gym. Like things like not caring what other people think of you, not comparing yourself to others, and not being afraid to fail. And the whole mindset and philosophy I have in life have been like structured and gained from the gym, because it's things I've learned in the gym. I learned that it's okay to fail a squat, nothing bad happens. Then I like structured that into real life, like it's okay to like fail or like being rejected in life. It's the same thing. So a lot of that has come from the like gym itself. So I think that's really fascinating, like if you reflect on it, not just as a place where you go and pick up some heavy ass weights, but it's what it does and what you're actually doing in that like time and space.
It entails so much more than just picking up that weight. And like every decision that you might say that we don't have free will because we're lifting this hard. Obviously our surrounding for a long time has been lifting. At some point we got exposed to lifting. Right? We got exposed to the voluminous muscles of some big hunk at some point in time. And we were inspired. We saw that and we thought, shit, I want maybe some bulbousness myself. So our environment has shaped us to become lifters also. We might have been something else, but today I'm thankful that my environment has created me to be a goddamn lifter.
Hell yes, same.
and I'm not going to change that ever.
No, neither for myself. Yeah, it's really wonderful thing, and I've talked about this. I haven't posted that one yet, but last week I posted about my 10 week. What am I saying? 10 year.
10 year.
I've been only training for 10 weeks,
guys. 10-week transformation.
No, but my like anniversary for training.
Yeah.
I've been training for a decade now. Made a video about that, like what it has taught me, what it's done to me, and like how huge part of my life it has been.
Yeah.
And do you have any like points on that, or your maybe own journey since?
I mean, I think we started maybe around the same time, so I'm guessing I'm coming up on a 10 year too.
Yeah.
But I haven't really thought about it in terms of time at all.
No.
I mean, you know.
And I think something like really valuable that I learned is not to rush things.
Yeah.
Because going to the gym and moving and like getting healthier isn't a linear process. It's not a process with one goal, with one set goal. It's changing all the time, as you yourself is changing all the time.
Yeah.
So I think it's unnecessary and a little bit wrong even to like set up, this is like what I should start.
Like I'm gonna bench press 150 this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this and that.
Yeah,
I want to look this big. I want to have this measurement on my biceps.
And that's one of the takeaways was that I become more like process oriented more than result oriented, and that's like one of the important lessons here for everyone. Because I think what is like draining and like making a lot of not just lifters but general people in life stuck like in a situation or a moment in time and in their lives is due to they're only focusing on the result. What will this get me? What will happen after this? Instead of like focus on the day, like the now. Taking one day at a time. That's something really important that I learned, because then I'm only focusing on each day, trying to be better than I were yesterday or last week. Instead of focus, I want to bench 160 in the end of December or something like that. Yeah, it's good to have a goal or something to aim for, of course, but if you won't achieve that goal, no harm, no foul.
How are you gonna feel if that's like all you're dead set on doing? All your focus goes, you pour a bunch of energy into this one goal and like shit, and then you fail.
I think it's good to have high demands, but low expectation. Or not even expectations.
No. But you know, other stuff could happen in life that may like prevent you from even being.
Because if you have both high expectations and high demands on yourself all the time, you will be disappointed and mentally drained all the time. Because that's unrealistic to perform on that high level all the time. Of course, you want to be your best self and all that, but just let it happen and learn to grow from it instead of letting it weaken you. In that sense, like if you have flaws or downfalls or like setbacks, like actually trying to grow that. I'm really weak at my glutes or hip thrust or a particular like movement. Hey, that maybe is like that sucks in the moment. Like, holy shit, I could be so much stronger, but like it's a weakness to work on. Like that was something back in the day I could stumble upon, but now I feel like I'm actually happy if look forward if I catch a weakness. Then it means something I can add a lot of performance in. Like for example, my squat or deadlift, I can already lift a very like for me pleased weight. but I can really see now when I've taken away the belt,
Yeah.
the sleeves and all that, that both my hip flexors and glute muscles are really, really weak.
Yeah.
So then I can say if I could strengthen both of these, they could add a huge amount of weight to my lifts.
Mm-hmm.
And I already see that in my bench.
Yeah.
I've been working separately a lot on like grip strength, my wrist like stability and forearm like I've been like training at work, like extending a lot and gripping like this what is it called, Captain?
You got cocks?
I don't got the like heavy one, but I like cheap one. Okay. Just that meanwhile I write or do things at work, I could like grip that.
Yeah.
And I'm really seeing it in like, as I said, the bench press.
Yeah.
It's feeling the strongest I've like ever been, really.
Because that gives you like a mental security as well. When you like crush the bar in your hand and you feel like strong. Having a good strong grip makes you feel strong.
Yeah,
in
because
the lifts as well.
That's always been one huge flaw within me. It hasn't been at all to do with muscle weakness. My muscles have always felt pretty darn strong.
Yeah.
It has majority of the time been about like stability or like mobility issues.
Yeah.
Like in the bench, it used to be like this, the bar pressing down, and therefore limiting a lot of weight. And still with this I could bench press 140.
Yeah.
And now when I actually have more control, still working on it, but a little bit more control over this and stacking, really stacking up the tightness, I can feel it's moving way more smoothly. Like yesterday I did pin press with 2 plates, 6 reps, 3 sets, felt really light. And that was like weights I did when I prepared for comp.
Yeah.
And I did that without belt, without reps. I also benched 120 a single the other day without anything. I don't think I've ever done that either.
Paused?
No, a regular one.
Yeah, okay.
But still, it's feeling real good. So I wanna like try to even get up to 150, even 160, like in the maybe end or beginning of next year.
Okay.
Like,
nice.
It's okay if I don't achieve that, but that's something I've been working on to actually higher my demands. They have been quite high in the gym, but even go further.
Yeah.
Like I don't have expectations of achieving it, but I really want to go for like, I know what I can do, but I want to go like beyond that because I want to be more than okay.
Yeah.
I want to be a great lifter. So I'm gonna see how far I'll come in that area. So we keep moving, but a little more strength, compound, heavy type of programming right now.
Yeah.
A little bit higher intensity as well, because we're eating more and we have way better building blocks right now to like both perform and lift heavy.
Yep.
After we recovered from like a sickness and like COVID and all that stuff. So
same.
really looking forward to it. Like
same.
Do you have any particular visions or goals right now in the training scene?
I could see like what lifting means to you is lifting is a process.
Yeah.
Right, and the process is when you do it.
Yeah.
When you lift.
Yeah.
You're actually in it. That is the process.
Yeah.
And being there when you lift and not somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're never gonna get that somewhere else.
Oh.
Right. And I just love lifting so much. I want to do it every day.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to not do it every day.
Yeah.
I want to get in there every day. I've just felt this for the longest time now. Like how am I going to structure this so I could do it every day?
Yeah, and
have you had that thought?
Yeah, exactly. And I've really come to find out how big part it has been and still is, because when I got COVID, it literally was the first time in a very long time I had like that long of a break from the gym. and I felt really shitty, like my mood, and I felt bad mentally, like worse mentally, just because I didn't move.
Yeah.
And of course, you should be able to feel okay and feel good without that stuff, not having to be that dependent to it.
Yeah.
But it has a really like strong mental bond to it.
Yeah.
I feel so darn good when I move my body. So that was something I got to see when I had a longer break.
Yeah.
And it is like that. It's a reason why they say exercise is better than any pill out there.
Yeah.
Because it really is. Not just to say it because, but it's really true in my opinion. So.
And I mean, exercise comes in many forms. Find one that you love.
Yeah, you don't have to go to the gym. It's like find what works for you.
Yeah.
It could be sport. It could be even yoga, meditation. Could be
some
walking.
form of heavy manual labor. Yesterday I was in the forest with my dad and my grandpa.
Nice.
And we don't have like the biggest equipment, forestry equipment and stuff like that. So it's a lot of manual labor to move big logs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit beat up. I'm sore in my forearms today.
Yeah.
I'm sore. I'm feeling it like all over. I try to use it in a way where it's productive to lifting as well.
Yeah, and just
like
being out in nature as well.
And that too. And it felt good when I was done. When we were done, we were there for like 4 hours or something in the forest.
I think that would be the most productive and effective way of lifting as well, doing it outside.
Yeah.
Not just like moving with nothing else, but logs, rocks, bricks, something like that. But also when you're outside, your hormone levels are off the charts.
Yeah.
Like what your endorphins and dopamine and serotonin levels is the most like peak level that you can get it. That's why it feels so darn good when you like go outside for a run or just get exposed to sunlight, whether you move or not. So having that kind of combination is the most like serving one in my opinion, but it's quite difficult sometimes to like do it. You can just go to nature, go lift logs, be with your family, help out,
and
that is easy.
No matter how big the log is, or how doesn't matter if it's big or a small log, or you're just going to want to try and lift that thing. It's just the way it is. And I think we can finish up this podcast now with saying that lifting is being in the moment. It's a process. It's something we love. Lifting is life for us.
Live long and prosper.
Or short, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
Yeah. But we're signing off.
Yeah, we're signing off.
See you.
I like that.
That's a good one.